Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise and I give you the non-biased information you can use to hopefully capitalize on the biggest opportunity in history, and that is this current bull run. Well, today we're going to talk about real-world assets, and I'm going to zoom out and talk about the big picture and give you a lot of alpha of how to think about the sector. And I really believe that that information will help you decide which projects to choose and if you should hodl or take profits. Now, today we're going to go over and compare Ondo to XLM, which are two of the most popular projects, and actually both of those are in the lead of actually having projects tokenized on them. So once I talk about what I want to in the beginning, we're going to start to compare. And guys, then I'm going to do a series where I compare different real world asset projects to the other one. Now, the reason I chose Ondo and XLM is I believe they're two of the top projects. So whichever one wins today, in my eyes, is I'm going to compare to other projects day after day. So if you have a favorite real world asset project, let me know and I might put it on the list to compare, because that's one thing I teach in my coaching. Guys, you don't need to have 10 projects in real world assets, and there's thousands to choose from, because the whole sector will pump, in my opinion. It's not financial advice, and some are going to pump harder than others. So therefore, what I do is I play the probabilities. What I care about, and I want to be really clear about this, is which project is the best investment. I think people get that confused in crypto because they always seem to want to talk about the tech or whatever it is that they think is the project's going to lead the way and be the best investment. Well, guys, I have news for you. Best tech doesn't even remotely mean that it will be the best investment. And by best investment, I only care about this bull run. In my opinion, anyone to hodl anything outside of Bitcoin past a bull run, they're out of their mind. The risk versus the reward are not even in the ballpark of making sense, in my opinion. So I'm looking, let's say I stack $10,000 in Ondo versus XLM or any of the other real world assets that we're going to go over. All I care about is at the end of this bull run, my 10,000 grew the most. And so I'm looking for the best probability with the biggest upside. So I want to be clear about that. And I highly recommend you guys think about that, because if you are looking for the so-called best tech or the best developers or whatever, it's probably irrelevant. All right, hit the like button. Let's dive into the big picture of what I see in real world assets, and then we're going to compare Ondo to XLM. Now, one thing that people have to understand, and no ifs and buts about it, for the next, say, 10 years, Ethereum will win the tokenization of asset dominance. Period. I don't even see that it's debatable. Now, why do I say that? Well, just like Ondo's built on Ethereum, and Polygon, it's already tokenized assets built on Ethereum. But the biggest reason is BlackRock and JP Morgan's chain is built on Ethereum. It's a side chain. They still pay gas fees. So everything of significance, in my opinion, would be built on Ethereum, as far as for the most part, right? It's going to have the lion's share. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, because a lot of people might think that like Stellar XLM will be the dominant player. Well, it's not going to be the dominant player, say, in the next 10 years. It's virtually impossible because when you have like BlackRock and JP Morgan tokenizing their own assets combined is pushing 20 trillion. They will be the dominant player, whatever blockchain they choose. So I want to be clear about that. I know that's going to trigger a lot of people and they don't even want to hear the rest. But you need to hear me out, guys. I'm here to help you make money. Now, it's not financial advice, but I promise you, whatever I share with you at least has merit and it's something you should contemplate before you invest. Now, look what you see on the screen. It says 4 reasons banks are embracing the tokenization of real world assets. Guys, that's like a year and a half old article. Most people had never heard about real world assets or tokenized assets, and no one was talking about it. Well, years and years ago, JP Morgan and some of the big boys were already working on that. So now you have different players way late to the game, say like Ripple and XRP, and people think, oh, they're going to take over the world. Well, really? Not only are they late to the party, they're way, way behind. And the people that are in the lead, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, the Fidelities of the world, they have the customers. So keep that in mind. And we'll talk about why that is significant. I'm not telling you not to invest in XRP or XLM or whatever your favorite real world project is. I just want you to understand when this sector starts to rip, you need to take profits and don't hodl these projects like they're going to change the world, because the odds are they're going to disappear. Now, another point I want to bring up in this article is they do talk about Stellar and Fidelity. Fidelity tokenized assets on Stellar XLM over 2 years ago. And if you think back, guys, I know I did a video about 2 years ago based on JP Morgan, and it got like 500 views. I didn't make another one because no one was talking about tokenized assets at all. Now, look at this. And guys, a lot of people are like, why are you talking about JP Morgan? Well, because no one does the research. You got to at least understand who's at the game. Who are you playing against? It says JP Morgan wants to bring trillions of dollars to tokenized assets. You ever heard that? Well, guys, this was a 2.5-year-old article. They've been planning this for 5, 6, 7 years. And now that's in the playbook. You will hear every single foundation or company that gets into chasing that real world asset pie. They all say the same thing. So just keep that in mind. Now, another thing, one of the big risks of hodling is that the game is going to change. Guys, I'm here to tell you that Wall Street, no ifs and buts about it, will dominate pretty much everything in crypto. DeFi, real world assets, tokenization, everything. Like Coinbase. Coinbase is already starting to talk about tokenizing BlackRock's funds and Bitcoin. So people are going to be able to go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin. Think about that, guys. Those are the players that are going to win. I don't know how it's going to end up, but I'm here to tell you, people are going to be going to Wall Street and probably their own bank to be buying these tokenized assets. Once you get regulation where the Wall Street power players can really cut loose, you're going to see everyone roll out their Web3 blockchains and their roadmaps. And that's not just for tokenized assets, that's going to be for gaming, DeFi, you name it. And right now, in my opinion, the big holdback is regulation. And Wall Street, the banks, and the governments are going to let this play out. Once it gets regulated and we find out who the winners, who has, say, the winning tech, well, those projects, if they're not Wall Street projects, will be attacked. They will try to regulate them out, just absolutely bulldog them out by being a competitor and killing their prices or attacking their customers or whatever. And that's what the big picture is probably going to look like. I hate to say that. All right. What else we got? These are some of the projects that I'm looking to compare. And again, guys, whatever y'all want me to compare, leave it in the comment section and I'll put it on the list. Here are just a few. You got Goldfinch, right? That's definitely one I'm going to be reviewing. You've got TrueFi, Reserve Rights, which I need to do a deep dive. I haven't yet, but I've heard a lot of good things and it's been coming up a lot. Polymesh, for sure. Centrifuge, for sure. We'll be reviewing Pendle. Great project. We'll probably be reviewing MANTA, for sure. Quant. I'm probably just going to mention Quant because I really don't see Quant as being a big player in tokenized assets. I know it can be a gateway like Link, but I just don't see it being a big player. And I made a video recently about Quant. I highly recommend you look it up. I used to own Quant, sold my Quant. Anyway, HBAR, for sure. HBAR is one of the biggest players in tokenized assets, and outside of Ethereum itself, it is by far in the lead of who's doing the most, who has the most projects and the most money and the most assets already tokenized on a chain. It's definitely HBAR outside of Ethereum. More than XLM, more than Ondo, more than everyone else as far as I'm aware. All right, let's get into it. Ondo. Guys, Ondo was basically built to support like a lot of what BlackRock is looking to do. So guys, that is why I am bullish on Ondo. Look at this. The founders, you got Coinbase backing them, Pantera backing it, and of course you got BlackRock. So guys, those are the power players. Follow the money. I've said this from the beginning. The central banks, the governments, primarily the U.S. government, and Wall Street pick winners and losers, whether we like it or not. And the tech doesn't have to be the best. It has to be good enough for them to choose. And once they choose it, guys, there's no stopping them. There's no, there's no taking market share from BlackRock and JP Morgan and Swift. It's just not going to happen. All right. Now, yes, it may happen in 20 years, but it's not going to happen in this bull run, and that's all I really care about. Now, if you look at the chart, here's another thing I like about Ondo. It's got great partners, great money behind it. It's got a sexy story. It's got the hype. It has momentum. This was one of the most bullish charts of the year. Yes, it broke structure, but pretty much everything broke structure. But here's the difference, in my opinion, say from Stellar XLM, and we'll be talking about that, looking at its chart in a minute. But the money is made historically in the first bull market, no matter what project it is. I'm not aware of any project that had a bigger X in the preceding bull runs, right? If something came out of the gate and did, 1,000X its first bull run, the second bull run is not a chance in heck it does 1,000X. It'd probably be lucky to do a 50X, and the third bull run is probably going to be lucky to do a 10 or 20X. So, and hopefully it'll make a new all-time high. Most projects never make another all-time high. Over 90% of projects don't make a new all-time high in its second bull run. So that's another reason I believe Ondo is a really strong bet. All right, let's talk about Stellar. Now, I'm just going to give you that it might have the best tech compared to Ondo. Just give it to you because it's irrelevant, in my opinion. So if you think that's important, and I have been talking to a new friend of mine, and he explained some of the tech. It does have some really great stuff. Um, but I don't think it's enough to override what I perceive as negative. But another extremely bullish thing is Draper University. Tim Draper is a billionaire out of Silicon Valley. He's been funding projects since the dot-com bust in 2000, and he is behind the Stellar ecosystem. Now, I don't know how much, merit. I mean, it has merit, but he supports hundreds of projects. So I just want to, it's not like he picked out Stellar. He has been talking about like Stacks, STX, the first SEC approved blockchain in the Bitcoin ecosystem. He's put multiple, I think he bought $26 million worth of Stacks like a year ago. So, he gets around, but he also understands the tech, and he believes in the Stellar ecosystem. So he's starting an accelerator program. That's extremely bullish. Now, for the downside, okay, before I talk about the tokenomics of XLM, I need to go back and say this about Ondo. Ondo doesn't have horrible tokenomics, but you can bet toward the end of this bull run, they're going to just be adding supply, because they're going to be taking their profits to make their money. You can almost guarantee it because look who's behind it. Coinbase wants their money back. BlackRock, whoever invested, those big boys invest. They don't get dumped on, they do the dumping. So take your profits on Ondo or you become the profits. All right. Now, here's one thing no one ever talks about, whether it's XLM, XRP, AVAX, or whatever project. Guys, tokenomics matter. Tokenomics and math. And if you really want to understand the significance, you got to think about the market cap, right? Because, guys, I want to show you something. This is the big bull run right here. Look at this. The start of 2017, there was less than 7 billion XLM tokens in circulation. Less than 7 billion, okay? Before that bull run was over, there was almost 18 billion. And it still pumped. It would have pumped even harder, but look what happened. You got dumped on. And hey, that's part of the game, right? Don't hate the messenger, don't shoot the messenger, and don't hate the game. If you understand the game, you would have been looking at this dump and you would have been taking profits with the insiders of XLM or XRP or whatever project it is, guys. There is a game, whether you like it or not. You're either going to be taking profits, you become the profits, and you are the exit liquidity. Smart money, take from the not so smart. All right, so the point about this is, guys, now there's almost right at 30 billion XLM in circulation. Well, think about that. You're going to hit a new all-time high, it has to more than double its market cap in 2017. It's not just getting back. So you have to have twice the money come in. And I'm here to tell you guys, I say this with love, and it's not just about XLM, it's about all projects. Big market cap projects that have already made the founders and the early people billionaires for the most part. They're not going to make life-changing gains. It's virtually Impossible. It's the average of large numbers. Guys, it's like starting a business. You can go from zero to $1 million business in a matter of months. But once you get to $100 million or $1 billion corporation, just like, say, Ripple, and the reason I just came to my mind because I know their numbers, they're worth $15 billion. Well, for them to double to $30 billion, it's possible. But then we get for 60. Do you see what I'm saying? It gets harder and harder. That's just a fact, and everyone needs to know that or understand it. All right. Now, I perceive this to be probably the biggest negative. And any chart that looks like this, I think, unless you're doing it as a swing trade, a bounce, it just doesn't make sense. The probabilities, forget that this is XLM for a second. The probabilities of a bear market chart like that making a new all-time high is, the probability is probably 5%, probably 3% or 1%. But I want you to look at something, guys. You want to do the opposite of this. This is the inverse of what you want. Now think about it. People that bought and held, for you hodlers out there, they bought all the way up. All these people right here are probably never getting their money back. And even if they get their money back after 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they've lost a huge amount and they missed the biggest opportunity in history because they didn't take profits, they didn't cut their losses, and they held. Look, this is extremely bearish. Made an all-time high, didn't make an all-time high. No indication that there's an all-time high coming. Why would you remotely buy that chart? And the other thing is, guys, you'd have to be insane to hodl that chart. When you compare that, and let's do that real quick, compare that to Bitcoin, for example. And there's a lot other projects that make you a lot more money, but look at what a bull chart. See, guys, you make an all-time high 7 years ago. Even if you bought, you're extremely happy. Even if you bought, pretty much, if you bought anywhere in the past 2 bull runs, you're good to go. Some of them are slightly down, pocket changing in the world of crypto. And so think about that, guys. That's what you want. And outside of Bitcoin, in my opinion, hodling any altcoin is crazy. You got regulation risk. It's just software and tech, right? Code. That's it. It can be copied. It can be stolen. It can be regulated out. Brand new quantum computing is coming out. Could change the game overnight for every project out there. Could absolutely hack them and crush them. And it kills 90% of the projects literally overnight. Why would you take those risks? And another thing, guys, and I know I harp on this more than anyone I know, if you don't take profits, you're going to become the prophet. But you know what it does to your psyche to say take $10,000 and let it rip to $150,000 and then ride it all the way back down to, say, 14,000 or 15,000? Or in a lot of cases, you take that 10,000, ride it to 150, and ride it back down to $3,500 and hold it for 4 or 5 years, praying you get your money back? Guys, come on. You got to be smarter than that. Anyway, guys, if I had to choose one, the blue chip between these two, no ifs and buts about it, is Ondo. Now, if you want to talk swing trade, just keep watching Stellar, right? Let's go back to that chart. Let's talk about swing trades right now for the people that want to. For the people, because look at this, guys. Let's really dig into this chart. You're like, oh, well, this is going to do good. Okay, well, this is historical chart. Horrible chart. This is this year. Horrible. This is the last year. Horrible. The last 90 days, horrible. The last 30 days, the last week, it's still going down. Now, I trade almost every day. Sometimes I get wore out and take a couple of breaks. But for XLM, being a player, no matter what, it's in the conversation of tokenized assets in this sexy story hot sector. If this thing keeps going down, every day it goes down, guys, it's going to bounce. Is it going to bounce to a new all-time high? I don't think that's a chance. But you could, stack some stellar dollar cost average down. I wouldn't do it today. Why would you buy this? Why would you even remotely think the bottom's in? But if you keep watching it die, hey, and then dollar cost average down on the bottom, especially with a little bit of leverage, it's going to pump, guys. It's going to pump, and it's probably going to have a new all-time high for this bull run. So what would that be? I would assume it could easily take out that 15 cents. Well, it's not a huge move, but if you're on leverage, hey, it's not a bad play for whatever that's worth. All right, guys, if y'all need some help figuring this stuff out, I do one-on-one coaching. It's only $250 for 3 Zoom or phone calls. I think it'll help you get a game plan. We go through your portfolio, teach you how to compare projects like this one for the probability. Now, this is not financial advice, but guys, do yourself a favor, whether you take me up on coaching or not. Get a game plan, stick to that game plan, trade the probabilities, and take profits, or you'll become the profits. All right, let me know which project you think is going to win the real world assets, and I'll take a look at it and compare it to Ondo maybe in the next video. I am going to do a whole series, and if you like that type of conversation, comparison, let me know that as well. Hit the like button, share with like-minded people, and come back and be part of this community. Subscribe. Take care, guys.